Welcome to the lecture series in computer science. We are seeing a series of lectures in the subject Python programming. In today's session, we will be seeing the continuation of the previous session. We will be seeing a topic on creating games using Python. So, this session it will be a continuation of the previous session, and as the contents of the session are, we will be seeing about the different screens that we saw while creating the game. We were discussing about the car game. So, as far as the car game is concerned, we saw many different screens. So, we will be recalling those screens in this session, and then we will be seeing the code that is relevant to that particular screen, so that you will be comfortable enough to create such a game. And it is not mandated that you need to create only a car game, you can create any set of games. So, with this basic idea, it is left to the user, left to the viewers to create any such a type of game. So, let us now see what are the screens that we saw in the last session. So, this was the first screen. The first screen was with respect to a starting screen, wherein you had a new game, wherein you had quit. When I want to press a new game, I am supposed to press the key I, and if I am going to press, if I want to quit this game, I will be pressing the key O, and the maximum score will be displayed, and if I want to reset the maximum score, I will be pressing a key called F. Supposing if I am going to press the key I, the next screen is, it is like this. The screen goes in, the car starts. So, you will be shown with many different cars, and you can see a red color car over here, and then as well you can see our car, the yellow color car, and this is said to be the finishing point, the green color flag, and this is said to be the road, which is a bigger road, and here for traveling for the smaller car you have a small road, and then the maximum scores are listed here, the cheat codes are the maximum the speed at which the car travels is listed here, the cheat codes are listed here. This is to use a cheat code and to prevent from coming out of the game. So, for which we have used certain cheat codes. If you wish, you can use, but it is not the right practice to use cheat codes. Just to make use of this programming skill, we are using this kind of cheat codes. Then we saw we have a smaller set of logo. It is a different logo. It is not the same logo as you have seen over here. It is a smaller set of logo, and then when we press a key called P, it should pass the game, and then when I want to move to the go back to the main menu, I will be pressing a key called L, and these are all smaller flags which shows the start and stop of the game. And here this screen shows when a car get crashed with one other car, then it will say that a message should be displayed, a car is crashed, so better luck next time, and press L to go to the main menu. So, if you are going to press an L, it goes back to the main menu. That is the legal form of playing a game. But if I want to use a cheat code, I can use the cheat codes as QWER. Any of the cheat codes will make me to continue this same old game. Then the fourth screen shows the rocks that has been placed over here, and the competitive car which goes beyond our car. Time required to travel to the destination is shown over here, and the time required, the entire game time was fixed as 2 minutes, which is nothing but 120 seconds, because for each minute it is 60 seconds. So, 2 minutes it is 120 seconds. So, the remaining screens are the same, and here in this fifth screen you can see apart from the rock, apart from your competitive car, you can see a Superman flying. So, this Superman is also an image. So, wherein all three will be moving simultaneously. So, we will be seeing a code for it too. As far as the sixth screen is concerned, you could find an aeroplane. Similar to the Superman, we have an aeroplane, the car is traversing, smaller car is traversing. To this determines the time required to reach the destination point, time available to reach the destination point, and this is an aeroplane that is flying in between, and these are the two competitive cars, and this yellow car is to be our car. So, it is going along with the competitive car. Now, so these are the 6 different important vital screens. Apart from this, you would have seen many different screens such as a bigger aeroplane flying, so on and so forth. So, these are the vital screens which are required, and for getting those screens and for making the program to run, let us see the code, or let us continue with the code that we have left out in the previous session, and we will see how each and every line works. Before we could see the code, we will first of all list out what are the functions that are used in the programming. And my dear viewers, all these functions, if you have listened to my earlier lectures, whatever we have seen in the earlier lectures, only those functions we are using it in our program to create a car game. So, I will be repeating, I will be stating what is the exact use of such function with respect to our car game. So, now the first function that was used was, we are using a Pygame library and we are using an init method. So, if I am going to use this Pygame, what is it required? By default, when you are going to install Python software, any version of Python for that matter, the Pygame library will not be available by default. So, you are supposed to install a Pygame module. So, in order to install a Pygame library or a module, what are you supposed to do? Go to the command prompt and type as pip3 install Pygame. This will install Pygame, and then only you can use this Pygame module. And when you are going to use this Pygame module, initially you are supposed to use the initialize function. So, this initialize method, it will initialize whatever modules, that whatever functionalities that a particular Pygame library has. So, it is used to initialize all imported Pygame modules. Whatever functions are available, it will be initializing. Then, what have I done in my previous session? When the car moves, or when the car hits one other car, or when the car hits a rock, you could see a sound. You were able to hear a sound in the previous session. So, or during the start of the car starts. So, you were able to hear the ignition sound of the car. Okay, how did I code it? For which I am supposed to use this pygame.mixer. What is this pygame.mixer? Pygame.mixer, it is used to play music and audio files in Pygame. The pygame.mixer, it is used for loading and for playing sounds, and it as well controls the playback. The sound effect, if the car is going to go in a very high speed, it should give a sound of vroom sound, and if it is going to slow down, the sound should gradually decrease. So, anything and everything is being controlled by this Pygame mixture. So, it is used for loading, playing, and for controlling the playback. Then we have a fill function. What is the use of this fill function? This fill function is used to fill the colors. Okay, how do I have the fill colors? My dear viewers, By default you might be knowing we use 3 different colors. One is R, other one is G, third one is B. R stands for red, G stands for green, B stands for blue. RGB colors. So the combination of RGB will give you all other colors. So this fill has the attributes as RG and B. Apart from RGB, you have one other attribute called A. A denotes the alpha value of a color. A determines the alpha value of a color. My dear viewers, what is an alpha value? This alpha value specifies the opacity. What do you mean by opacity? Opacity determines the transparency. When you give the value as 0, it is fully transparent. That is, it is crystal clear. When you give the value of 1.0, it is fully opaque. That is, this side, the other side cannot be seen. Where do I use this? I can use this for my cheat code. In the last session, when the car was moving, you could find that our car, using a cheat code, a button pressed, Q or W or E, what happened was that our car was able to go beneath the competitor's car, wherein which prevents from hitting the competitor car, and we were able to proceed further, wherein both our car was visible as well as the competitor car was visible. So which means it was transparent. To make a lesser transparency or to have a more opaqueness, you can have the range between 0.0 to 1.0. 1.0 is the maximum value. So if you are going to give 0.8 or 0.7, which means it is semi-transparent. Then next function, or even you can say for declaring the variables, we can use global. We would have studied about this global and local variable declaration way back in the starting of our session. So what is the specialty of a global variable? The variable that is declared outside the function can also be accessed. The variable which has a global scope, that is, if I am going to declare a particular variable as global, usually we will not be declaring. Usually it will be local, which means the life of that particular variable will rely or will be within that so called function. But if the same variable is being declared as global, the life of the variable, it can be used outside the function also. So it is available outside the function also, which means that variable has a global scope. Such a variable you call it as a global variable. The alternative is, if the life of the variable should be within the function, such variables are said to be the local variables. Now next is an important thing, that is pygame.kleft. What is this kleft? This kleft denotes pressing a left arrow key. Okay, my dear viewers, if I want to press the right arrow key, what is the command that is to be given? Correct, it is pygame.k_right, RIGHT. If I want to press the upper arrow key, what is the command that I need to give? pygame.k_up, up. If it is to be down, pygame.k_down, DOWN, everything in caps. Now what are the other functionalities that are used? This is a very important function that has been used in this pygame, the blit concept. What is blit? Blit denotes block transfer. Block transfer. What do you mean by block transfer? It determines the background on the position that is inside the window, and it specifically states the top leftmost position of the surface. That is what is given. Background comma x comma y, in the background where x and y is said to be the position inside the window where the top leftmost surface will be noted, will be marked, and this blit stands for block transfer. Then next one is pygame.display.update. Whatever you do, it should get updated. Similarly, in your it is similar to sort of saving. So it updates the entire surface. What is the surface? My dear viewers, in the screen, this is the entire surface. You could find an entire surface over here. So it updates the entire surface, and only if no arguments are being passed. Then what else? We have a get method. What is a get method? Pygame.event.get. This pygame, it will register whatever events comes in, all events from the user into an event queue that can be received. Then next is pygame.font.sysfont. This method will determine what are the supported fonts or what are the fonts that the pygame supports. So to use the font, for example, it will be similar to this: pygame.font.sysfont, S capital, F capital, no space in between, open braces, Comic Sans. This is the font, comma 72 determines the size of the font. Next is the random range function. What is the random range function? The rand range function or the method, it returns a randomly selected element from a specified range. For example, random.randRange of, it speaks about the starting position. If you are not specifying the step, my dear viewers, in my code I have not specified the steps. If you are not specifying the steps, by default it will be incrementing by 1. The step will be 1. Next is the quit function. What is a quit function? It is used to quit the program, quit from the pygame. Quit function is to sort. It is like an opposite of the pygame initialization function. Initialization function imports all the modules, all the functionalities available in a pygame, whereas this quit function, it quits and it deactivates the pygame library. The work of the quit function is to deactivate the pygame library so that no functionalities pertaining to this pygame will be made available, will be workable. So these are some of the functions that were used in the code. So with this knowledge, when you are going to see the code, you will be in a position to easily follow the code. Now let us see the initial set of code. I suppose this initial set of code, this first screen was discussed in the previous session. Just to have a quick recap, I am just giving it. We are anything and everything when you want to work with pygame, you are supposed to import pygame, and for importing this pygame library has to be made available. For making the pygame library to be made available, you are supposed to install pygame using pip3 install pygame. Then for having a random functions, for choosing random colors of the car, for choosing different images of the car, I am using a random, I am importing a random. Then pygame dot initialize. So I am initializing the pygame, and to have a sound effect, I am using this mixture. I am initializing this mixture. So pygame dot mixer dot initialize. Then I am finding the topmost corner. So I am using this y equal to -20 and x equal to 0. So these are all the variables. For the velocity determines the speed of the car, speed of our car, the yellow car. This other velocity denotes the speed of the other cars, the competitor's car. So, competitor car is even more faster than our car. So, that is the reason our car has been given as 15, competitor car has been given as determined as 20. So, it is left to you to revamp the velocity so that the speed will be maintained. Then it is for the road run velocity. Well 1 is the road run. So, wherein the road, all the other cars comes down and our car moves up, and similarly the road comes down and our car moves up. So, that has been determined. This is the path. This path determines where is all my images are being kept. I suppose in my earlier session, previous session, I showed you many different images. So, the location of the image that is been set is to be given. Then key equal to 0, speed equal to 0, game close. So, I am giving it. Now, the next screen denotes, here what have I used? I am using two variables, ran for the random, to have a random pick of the car images. I am using a function ran. I am having it as an, what is this? What is this? We have discussed in our, when we discussed about in a session called list. So, we are creating an empty list, ran 1 again an empty list. Then for I in range 0, 16, minimum value is 0, maximum value is 16, ran dot append, I am appending 400 plus 10 into I. For this, what happens? I am just to note down the working of the program, I am just printing the ran and ran 1. So, for this the values will be 400, 410, 420, 30, 40, 50, so on and so forth. Then I am just calling the cars. These are the images, car1.png, car2.png, car3.png. I am using all PNG files. Why do you use PNG files? Why have I not used JPEG or the BMP files? Two reasons. One is BMP file stores huge volume of space. The reason for using PNG file is only this with the help of this PNG file we can use the opacity concept. We can make the car to become transparent. So, I am using PNG files. Similarly, for stones I am using it, and I am loading the program with car logo equal to pygame.image.load. From where will the image gets loaded? It will be loaded from the path. Where is the path? I have shown it in the previous screen. Here is the path. This is the path. So, from which I am loading the path. Now, so I am loading all the paths. I am loading all the images from the path that has been specified. All car, stone, Superman, flight, different sets of flights, so on. And then I am setting a caption as car game. Where is that caption found? This caption is found over here. Here is the car game. Here I am writing the caption. Hope you can find the caption here. So, this is the caption. Now, so I am able to load the caption as car game, and I am displaying the mode as 500, 400. What does it mean? It is the size of the window, this particular size of the window, 500, 400. Now, what happened? So, I am setting the size, setting the mode, and then I am setting the font dot sys font Comic Sans. I am setting the value as 23 and I am setting it to true, which means it will be displaying. And then I am setting all the fonts for main, menu, QWER, the cheat codes, and maximum score, all these things. Where can you find this? These are the positions in which those values, those fonts has to be placed. So, this is the position, here it is. So, this is the position wherein I am placing all these things. Now, what happens here is, so I am placing it like this, then I am loading the cars again in this. So, in the next screen I am continue loading all the cars, and I am continue loading the roads, two different roads. One road was for R car, the second road to determine the smaller car. The second road determines the smaller car, the bigger road determines this. So, this is what has been given. Then what have I used apart from this? I was able to, so I am giving a, I am giving some sounds to start the car, to have a crash, to have a music of the car moving. So, I am giving it as pygame dot mixture dot sound. Where have I placed my all my audio files? Path, in the path which I have listed over there at the start of the screen. Path plus what is the name of the audio file I wanted to import. And my dear viewers, this mixture, pygame.mixture supports the file type as OGG. OGG is an open source file to which has a sound effect. So, it supports this OGG format. So, .ogg I have given. So, I am giving all sort of sounds, I am uploading, loading everything. Then what happens here is I am uploading all the files, all the sounds, and then now I am going on to the next screen, which shows win.fill 0,0,0. What is 0,0,0? It gives you a black color. I am placing a black background beneath, that is beside behind our screen. Then I am having this audio, I am defining this audio. If time mod et equal to 0 and not time equal to 0, which means each and every audio will be playing for 4 seconds. So, I am calling the main car and I am using a function called play function. Play function will play the audio, and similarly for horn, similarly for stones. So, I am playing all these audios. And my dear viewers, what have I done over here? Volume of 0.8, which means I am setting the sound. For a fast car I am giving it as vroom sound, for a slower car I am decreasing the sound, vroom. So, that sound is 0.8, and I am for each and every car I am specifying the sound. Then this is how the car runs. Then next is I am giving the key. As far as this key is concerned, K left for the left key, and then for the right key, for up key, down key. This is what I said. Then the important concept is the blit concept. What is this blit? In Pygame, the screen object represents the game screen. It is a thin wrapper around a Pygame surface that allows to easily draw images on the screen. So, with the help of this blit screen only, you will be drawing the images. So, this is how I draw those images, and I call upon this win.blit of if I want to use the Superman. So, I call the Superman image, I use the 30 and the position 30, and it is near this flight white. So, this is how I am using the blit. Then next is to finally conclude this code, I am using all these road, I am using all the global variables. For globally I can use these variables outside the function also. Then next is I am using this random function random.range of 0, length of cars, and these are the values. Hope you might be knowing from the random range session that we have seen. And then similarly we are calling all the stone and we are calling all the roads of this car, and then we updated. How did I update? Pygame.display.update. Pygame.display.update will update. Then if the car crashes, it should display an image message stating that car crashed or stone crashed. So, this is the message to display. Then what happens? If I am going to press a key called Q, it quits and it comes out of the program. So, I am just giving a quit, pygame.quit, quits the program. Then I am writing all the scores in the file. So, for which I am using a file, I am opening the content, path, car game, text, I am writing it in a write mode and I am writing it and I am closing it. So, this completes my car game. Now, let us summarize this session. We saw about the screens that were used from in the previous session and then the relevant program codes, and hope you were able to work out the smooth functioning of a car game. Thank you.